working on making it better. The Lord is there to help you along the way. You gotta hang tough, don't you?
Let me ask you something. Do you believe we live in a compassion-less world? Most people place themselves and their family above any other consideration in the world. The sad reality is that most people simply do not care what happens to others. They do not possess compassion. In fact, I would venture to say that most people don't even know what it means to have true compassion. You see, the word compassion, as it is used in the Bible, means to be moved inwardly, to yearn with tender mercy and affection. You see, it refers to the deepest possible feelings that you can have. We must realize the consequences of sin is not a pretty sight. You see, there are those who are spiritually helpless and in need of God. And there are even those who are struggling just to make ends meet. But yet, a lot of us keeps wanting to bring them down even farther. We must sense the needs of others and allow God to do whatever is necessary to do the impossible in our life and the lives of others. Right? You see, Christianity is not just about us crying on one another's shoulder and feeling sorry for ourselves and what we are going through. It's about God's passion. It's about God's passion. It's about our having compassion for others. All it takes is a little bit of compassion and a little bit of faith, and we will see the impossible become reality. You see, such compassion comes from the very depths of the person. I like the passage in the 14th chapter of Matthew, in verse 14, when we find these words, "And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed the sick." But let me just make something clear. People have to want to be healed. They have to want to be healed. You see, when Jesus sees this leper, he risked the scorn of his society, but he was willing. You see, Jesus is always willing. He's always willing to help us, but we have to want it. In Matthew chapter 8, it talks about large crowds followed Jesus as he came down the mountainside. Suddenly, a man with leprosy approached him and knelt before him. He said, "Lord, Lord, if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." You see, he wanted it. He wanted to be healed. And Jesus was willing. And it talks about that in Matthew chapter 8:3. It said, Jesus reached out and touched him and said, "I am willing. Be healed." And instantly the leprosy disappeared. Do you know he can still do this today? You see, Jesus had that compassion. The compassion of Jesus stretches beyond the immediate and the visible to the deepest needs. His compassion had eternity in mind. See, most today, we still have to have that instruction. A brief look at the Gospels reveals that even the disciples knew nothing of compassion. James and John, they wanted to call fire down from heaven to punish a Samaritan village that refused to receive Jesus, as it talks about in Luke chapter 9:54. And then another time, the disciples wanted to send a hungry crowd away with nothing, as it talked about in Mark 6:34. The disciples had no compassion for the people. They did not really see them at all. They were too caught up in the lives that they were living for themselves. And they were not concerned for the people. Why? Because they had no thoughts of reaching outside their circle and helping the people around them. It's sad. It really is. But it is also easy to see ourselves in these men. Aren't we often self-centered and selfish? If it doesn't touch our lives or the lives of our family and friends, then it's no affair of ours. Why are we that way? Why did Jesus have to teach his own disciples about compassion? And why do we still need the lessons today? We still haven't got it. I think the answer lies in the fact that compassion is against our very nature. We are selfish and concerned with only ourselves. That which does not touch us personally does not even matter. That is why Jesus had to teach his own disciples about compassion. That is why we still need the lessons today. It's just like in the other episode, I talked about, are you teachable? Are you willing to still learn? Because we got a long ways to go. You never know what a little compassion will accomplish. I need help in this area. What about you? Remember, compassion is more than feeling sorry for someone. It is more than pity. Compassion is a desire to reach out and make a difference in the life of someone else. In truth, compassion is a desire to be Christ to someone else. So what is your desire? Do you have compassion? Think about it this way. So until next time, I hope you will be working on making it better.
He is working on making it better.